Good people all, this Christmas time, consider well and bear in mind.
One interesting thing about that word svitlo, light, Ukrainian word for world is svit, right?
Yeah, because it's like a sweet, it's like all the stuff you can see.
Before we continue, we invite you to follow our channel, the only American show reporting live from Ukraine every day.
Good evening from Ukraine's Carpathian Mountains. This is Joe Lindsley with our Radio War Day Daily War Journal. And today we are speaking with a Ukrainian musician whose music I just discovered accidentally, Gordiy Starukh. Gordiy, right now, I think you're talking to us from over the border in Poland, right?
Yep. Hello, everybody.
Gordiy, you're from Lviv, and I saw your somewhere on Instagram or somewhere. I saw you did a song you made that was a mashup of a great famous Irish carol, the Wexford Carol, Christmas Carol, and a Ukrainian, traditional Ukrainian Christmas song. And the Wexford Carol, which we'll play here, I mean, is one of the most haunting melodies, I think, in the Western world. And as an Irishman, I'm American, but my family's from Ireland, and I love that tune. And I heard it, and I heard its combination with the Ukrainian Christmas carols, and it was really such a powerful, wonderful video. So I was happy to see that, and I wanted to talk to you about that song and about how you chose to bring in the Irish carol and mix it with the Ukrainian. But before all that, why? So you're a musician from Lviv. What's your style? What's your focus as a musician?
As musician, so my whole point and all my music style based on Ukrainian folk, and my goal is to keep it in present time. So I'm trying to make some mashups, some like mixes with modern music, electronic music, and ancient folk. So we can say that it's like a folktronica, we say in Ukraine, ethno-electronica, folktronica.
Folktronica.
Yeah, something like that. So I have like three ways that I used, because I'm not only the musician, I'm also a music producer and luthier. So I'm making music instruments. But
specifically like violins and fiddles, or?
No, I'm making only hurdy-gurdies. But here in Ukraine we have very special tradition connected with that instrument, because it's like a part of our Kobzar tradition. If you heard about that, UNESCO recognized that Kobzar tradition, now it's like a famous thing and part of world's culture. It was like a 5th of December. It was like a big conference in, I don't know, Puerto Rico, can say. So, and my goal is to refine this instrument, because it's very, very popular in entire Europe, and every country mostly have their own hurdy-gurdy. We call it in Ukraine kolisna lira. It's like translations like wheel lyre, wheel lira.
This is the instrument you're playing in the Wexford Carol video, right? You sort of,
yes.
There's
It's like my go-to instrument. I'm playing on it in all my music. It's like my main instrument. But I'm also using synthesizer, drum machines, and a lot of other Ukrainian folk instruments. So I'm trying to keep it in present time. Just we say that I'm popularization of these instruments of like a folk culture, and yes, I think that's like a.
Well, you said the word kovzar, which I know because some friends gave me a book of the poetry of Taras Shevchenko called Kovzar, and Kovzar is it's this tradition of the storyteller, right? The who would go from village to village sharing The
We
music, or
probably can say that,
yeah.
yes. It's like because they kept our identity in 300 years, in the time when Ukraine has no state, you know. So that's like from their work we have like our independence. The idea of independence was like from their songs, because they started when Cossacks were like have their short independence in 17th century, and
Hmm.
they keep that histories about these times to the present days. Um, this like a in 19th century it was like a big explosion of the ideas, the spring of nations, and this was very important in our history.
And it was these traveling musicians that would share
Yeah.
the stories of your culture and Ukrainian identity, and I mean, and that's, as someone who has deep roots in Ireland, and I spend a lot of time in my family's farm in the west coast of Ireland, and I miss it. I'm here in the war now here to stand with Ukraine, but I miss Ireland, and I see so many parallels between the Irish struggle for freedom and for nationhood and the Ukrainian struggle. And in many ways, Ukrainians are doing better. I mean, you've preserved your language. You speak Ukrainian, whereas in Ireland, we've forgotten. Very few people speak the Irish language, and so much of that has been lost. But you had the tradition of the bards, the people that would travel around. They was like the highest people in society, those who could sing and tell the stories that preserved the culture. And it became really important during the years of oppression, when the language was illegal, and when the culture and the religion and everything was illegal. It was the people sharing the stories through songs that kept it alive. And so I feel that deeply when I'm traveling through the fields of Donbass. I can almost hear the ghost of my Irish ancestors and those who fought for freedom for centuries in Ireland. A freedom that we got really about 100 years ago, early 1920s. And so that's why, Gordiy, when I saw I love that haunting melody of the Wexford Carol. I feel like I can hear my ancestors almost, in that melody, and that it sort of encapsulates Celtic spirituality in many ways. And so, why did you choose, as you're trying to find, ways to share Ukrainian music and Ukrainian carols with the world? Why did you choose to merge it with that particular song?
My goal was like to make some sort of thinking, to make something to connect other people, other cultures, to say thank you. And this song was, I don't know, I just looking for good Christmas carol that's not so popular, but with some, I don't know, spirit. We can say that it was spirit. And I just accidentally find the Wexford Carol. I didn't know it before. So I'm really happy that I explored it.
Yeah, and the way you brought it together with what was the Ukrainian song that? So, we should tell people a little bit about. I mean, for example, so today, the day that we're talking is the 6th of January. This is yesterday was the Feast of Jordan, which is a big holiday for Ukrainians celebrating the baptism of Christ, and you almost have like a reduplication of Christmas. You have a similar kind of Christmas dinner. Ukraine is so different, especially Western Ukraine and Lviv, so different from the rest of the world that stopped celebrating Christmas on December 26th. Ukrainians, if you were in Lviv right now, you would still hear people singing these Christmas carols, not, even today and beyond, through the month of January, through the darkness of the winter. What is the song that was the Ukrainian song that you and the kids were singing in that video?
Oh, that's very funny story, because the song I wrote, this song, it's not a folk song, but it very much based on folk songs. The like Fabula, because the story is about you called it cosmogonia. It's like about beginning of the world. So in the beginning, there was only sea. On this sea, there was a stone. On that stone, there were three birds, and birds going into the sea and get from the sea stones. Golden stone is like a sun. Silver stone is moon, and bronze sand is like stars. And this is like our cosmogonical myth. And I just use it that like a fabula, and melody. It's like a very popular melody scheme from the Police region, and I made something like a folk song. It's a lot of people think that this is 100% is like a folk song that have 200 years or maybe more. But that's like a new song.
Well, yeah, I would have thought it was a very ancient song, and I love the juxtaposition of
the principles of these old songs, and a lot of people think that it's real.
Yeah, it was, and the contrast with the Wexford Carol is it's a haunting, like very somber sound, more than somber, but it's very melodic and haunting, and then to have this wild Ukrainian freedom that was, I think, encapsulated by your song. It shows like, to me, it very well represented Ukrainian society too. You have these, and especially in the wartime too, but even beyond it, you have this solemnity and very serious and sad, haunting things, but there's always this wild, spirit that's dancing and embracing life. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's. I mean, it well represented what Ukraine is to me, and I think, even in some ways, and I think, looking at Ireland, I think we've sort of forgotten the energy of freedom in Ireland. Now that we have it, and I think a lot of times our folk traditions, it's still there. You can go to a pub in the West Coast in the countryside, and people will sing the old songs, but all the old songs are about fighting for freedom, but now we don't know what it is anymore, because I think people probably don't feel very free. They feel kind of like, sort of under some kind of corporate, controlled environment, and so we don't know what these wars.
On the other stage, we have two problems.
That's exactly it. Yeah.
Problem.
Yeah, we're too cozy and too comfortable, and so we forget the which is a good thing in many ways, but we forget the sacrifices and the fierce energy of freedom, and you stop living it in a way, and so and here in Ukraine you have no choice, but to have this energy, and that's what you captured so well in that song, and that's what I see with so many. I mean, that's why every American I know who comes to Ukraine, they're happier here because they feel more free, even if it's scarier and more difficult. But there's something sort of so sacred about that, and so I think you captured that very well, man. In that in your version of the Wexford Carol.
Thank you. But very strange thing, because I have statistics about like the streams on other cities, platforms, and strange thing that most radio spins is from Chicago.
Really?
Yeah.
For that
Radio
song
spins.
or for in general?
Yeah.
For you?
Wexford Carol.
Really?
Well, for me, it's like a top radio spinned song is Wexford Carol, particularly in Chicago.
In Chicago? Wow.
Yeah.
Well, that's weird, because I mean I haven't even I don't have the radio in Chicago anymore, so it's some other. Yeah. There are a lot of Ukrainians there in Chicago.
Yes. And I'm trying like a how to say it. Because these songs, it's like a songs for Ukrainians to like keep them Ukrainians, like keeping our identity alive. Because every year we forget a lot of songs, old songs of our ancestors. They are like we're keeping it in books, in old records from the folklorists. You know, they going to villages, to old babcias, and record them. But it's like for regular people, they don't see that. So my goal is like keeping it on the high shelf, that you can see it every day.
And that's one thing I've seen in Lviv a lot about, especially the way people celebrate Christmas there. And people, compared to other places in the world, people do tend to know at least a few songs in common, and they can sing together. They're not just watching it; they're participating in it, and that's a very rare thing. And it makes me think. You know, I was just talking with a friend, a musician from America who comes to Ukraine a lot to volunteer, and he's actually in Ireland now. And it had me thinking about this, but I managed an American band that was sort of Irish style punk folk music, but some of the members of the band were from Ukraine. Their parents came from the Lviv region, and they moved to America. And it's just some weird connections, but and we did some tour of Ireland, and I was in a pub in the west of Ireland. At this very posh hotel, and there was a lovely girl singing the traditional songs. She was paid to do it. And I knew the words, and I was singing, and I was talking to her about the words, and she said, you know, why do you care so much about this? You're from America. Like, you know, she said, we don't, she was even cynical herself about the song she was singing. And I said, you know, because in America, we're looking for identity. You know, like my brothers and sisters and I, we grew up in a nice suburb on a golf course, but like, what's the identity? What's your culture? And so we found our Irish roots and learned it. And like so many other people in America, in Chicago or Boston, you really want to have some identity, and it's not given to you. You have to look for it and build it. Whereas if you grow up in Ireland or in some other European countries, you take it for granted. And it's on the shelf, as you say, and you just sort of forget it, and it becomes something you don't live anymore. But the people who have lost it know the value of it and are trying to get it. And so, and when I said that to this girl that was singing, she started crying. She said, "Oh, you know, I never thought of it this way. Like she realized that they're losing it in Ireland, their identity.
She doesn't lose it.
Yeah, you have to. You have to live it. You have to." It's not enough it's not always going to be there if you don't actually practice it. And so that's why, I admire what you're doing here with this project. And, you know, do you know the band, I will mispronounce their name, Peri Ibati?
Yeah, that's my friends.
Moyan. And they're amazing people and fantastic music, and they, wild. Like they'll have an album like sort of in the style of Bach. Right, but Ukrainian music and a little bit of klezmer and well, I just heard that Marian has moved temporarily to Kharkiv.
Yeah,
and this is, you know, for those watching, like, you know, Lviv has been the capital of Ukrainian culture through all these centuries of Russian oppression, and
that's like a stereotype, you know.
Okay, a stereotype, but I mean.
A lot of Ukrainian stuff happened in Kharkov 100 years ago. So that's like even Kyiv was very, very, let's say, pro-Russian 100 years ago. And a lot of Ukrainian culture stuff happened in Kharkiv.
In Kharkiv, which is...
a lot of repression and bad stuff from the communists. So that's like Lviv was like a safe place, you know?
Yeah.
And everybody, a lot of Ukrainian culture guys trying to move from Lviv, from this safe place, to the wild, frontier, like Kharkiv. So that's like a stereotype, but in independence time from the 90s, yeah, it's like more culture stuff connected with like a Ukrainian culture was happening in Lviv. Yeah, so that's like a particular it's right.
Well, and it seems, because Lviv, as you say, Lviv was safer. It was further in the west. It was not under communism as long. Like Kharkiv is just 30 miles from Russia, and I remember hearing these stories of, like, there was a story the Soviets. I think it was when Stalin was in charge. They invited all these bandura players, the traditional bandura instrument, invited them to Kharkiv for some kind of conference, and then they killed them. Is that right?
Yep. Yeah,
Yeah,
we don't have the evidence, but I think if we don't get the Bucha back to Ukraine, we don't have evidence about crimes in Bucha. So a lot of people say that this is like not true about this conference, but we can say in this time after Bucha, you need evidences? I don't know.
Yeah.
So it's like a part of my work was to make 300 liras in memory of these guys. And
Because there were 300 guys who were killed, according to the story. Yeah.
It's one of the information we have that it was killed around 300 Kobzars. So I trying to make 300 liras, and I am on 255. So 45 to left. But funny thing, there's a lot, mostly maybe 17% of all my instruments are in US. So I have lots of work.
Who you're selling them to Americans, in other words, yeah? Yeah. And what kind of Americans? What's the profile of an American who's buying your instruments? Are they on their own?
This very strange people, because hurdy-gurdy players is like the most rare types of human. It's very difficult to play, very difficult to find the luthier who make that. Very difficult. It's very expensive because it's a lot of work to make this instrument playable. Just even if you buy it, you can struggle with only the maintenance of the instrument. So that's like a very strange. So I have different people, from the seniors to young people, teenagers. I don't know how to describe. There is no describable.
Somehow they felt some magical calling to.
I can say that this type of people is just strange and special guys.
Wow. Well, maybe we can include a link if anyone who's listening wants to is interested in the market for a Ukrainian-made hurdy-gurdy. And I want to mention, we talked about our friend Mariad and that band Pari Batig. In Kharkiv, I've witnessed in Kharkiv, I've been there a lot since the beginning of the full-scale invasion, a renaissance of Ukrainian culture. People weren't even thinking about it, before 2022. I mean, there were a few, of course, but on a wide scale, no. And now, people are speaking Ukrainian instead of Russian, and they're going back and rediscovering Ukrainian music, and not just music from Lviv, but also from their region. And that's why you have one of these great folk singers from Lviv. And I think this is something that it's a very important story that he said, wait, Lviv was an important place to preserve this stuff, but now it's time to go to the place where it's alive, where it's under threat, under missile attack every day. There to Kharkiv. And that's really a sign of like.
You said that Americans feel more alive in Ukraine. It's like guys from Lviv feeling more alive in Kharkiv,
Exactly. Yeah, there at the edge, and where you see your limited time and you know
Hmm.
what you're fighting for. Yeah. Uh, yeah. It's I'm so happy to know that that renaissance is happening not in the safe place, but in one of the most dangerous places. You know.
Yeah.
And Gordy, your album is called? This new album is called
Svetlo.
Svitlo.
It's
Means
in translation, it's light because we called the electricity light also, and the symbol of Christmas is like a star. It's also light, and for me, it's like the fighting between dark and light. So my idea was like trying to present to people some part of light from the ancient times of our ancestors. They keep it for thousands of years and keep it to the present day. So it's like some sort of that stuff that's the stars, the light from the stars that going to us is already old light. So it's something about that light from the ancient times.
well, and I like how you included the Irish, the Celtic idea there, and there's lots of evidence that the ancient Celts were once in this same territory in Ukraine, and so there is some deep connection there. And I think one interesting thing about that word svitlo, light, the Ukrainian word for world is svit, right?
Sweet, yes. Yeah.
So the word for world and the word for light, like the word for light is a derivative of the word for world. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's like a sweet. It's like a that all the stuff you can see because
Wow.
that you can see only that it's lighted. So it's connected.
Okay, I love this idea. I knew that there was some kind of linguistic connection, but I didn't realize the depth of it. That what you call the world is the thing that which you can see.
Yep, yep.
That's what's illuminated. Nice. I like this very much. Very interesting. The Russians, their word for world is the same as the word for peace, mirror, right?
Mm-hmm.
And which is a very different concept. It's like the world is whatever is sort of under. It's like pax, whatever's sort of under our sense of peace. It's just two totally different concepts. But okay, so that which we can see is the world. Svitlo. Nice. And the name of your album. Currently trending in Chicago. And let's try to get many more people to listen to it. Yeah, hey, Gordy, and we should also mention that because you're in Poland now. You have a young family. You got 3 kids, and that's why you're able to cross the border and to leave.
Yeah.
And Gordy, anything else you want to say, man?
I don't know. Just thank you for your invitation, for your serving, because I know you did a lot of things. So, thank you.
Amen. Razon do permoha, and may the light continue to triumph over the darkness, the svitlo. So, anyway, well, we'll have information in the description. And last thing I'll say is the big topic for if in the media today, if you're talking about Ukraine, it was all about the Lex Friedman interview with President Zelensky. I just didn't want to. I didn't want to talk about it today. I wanted to talk about like this conference. This is what I wanted to talk about, and because
we call it business sviat,
yeah, after the holiday, the holiday continues, and everyone else can have their analysis of that. I didn't want to spend 3 hours listening to it. I know from what I saw that President Zelensky, I think he did an amazing job with some very stupid, inane questions. But I'm glad that conversation happened. But what I really want is I want Americans not only to. I'm glad that people got to hear from President Zelensky, and I think it really had a great impact in that long format. but I really want Americans to hear from non-politician Ukrainians. And after 3 years, it's really time to break open these barriers. And I want Americans who listen to like IT podcasts to listen to IT guys in Kharkiv and Lviv, or to listen to luthiers who make hurdy-gurdies, to listen to veterans who've lost eyes and arms and legs. And so this is really my mission in 2025 is to let's take this moment of Zelensky going on this very popular podcast to get many more Ukrainians on such shows in America. So that's all I have to say about the. I know that's what everyone wants to talk about today, but
we need to make more English-speaking content, from Ukraine, because we're more focused on Ukrainian people, but English-speaking content from Ukraine. Do you know a lot of it? Because I don't.
No, but your music is one, and we'll close with by playing that.
I will try more because a lot of my work is like I'm blogger. I don't know how to say it, but a lot of my videos is like about Ukrainian culture, Ukrainian history, and this year I want to start English speaking videos about Ukraine, about our Kobzari, for example. Because it's like about that. That's cool. I tried to Google it to find like a video on YouTube with English subs about Ukrainian this Ukrainian tradition, and it's shame.
Nothing. Yeah.
You don't have that. I can find it. So
Gordiy,
this year I will try to make more.
let's collaborate on this. Let's share. I think it's what I find is one of the things that people want to hear about the most is what makes Ukrainians Ukrainian. What is the history? What's the culture and identity? So
let's start a podcast.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's call this the beginning of it, and this could be a great thing for 2025. So.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good idea.
And by the way, I have to emphasize that the first letter of your first name for me is one of the most difficult letters to pronounce because in Ukrainian it looks like this, and it's in between the G.
The heart,
It's like
Gordiy.
Gordiy. It's like here's an example of it. When you say there's two words that sound very similar: to be cold and to be hungry. Right, and if you're cold, it's this sound. It's холодно, right?
Yeah.
But then the hard one to say, if you're hungry, and the sound comes from your gut, right? It makes sense. Yeah.
Explain very good,
I can explain it, but I can't say it. Холодно.
Холодный, That's why I changed my first letter in all my artist names to G, because in Poland people call me Gordiy because they reading this letter like H, and they have not H. So I decided to make it like a G. For entire world I am Gordiy, and only in Ukraine I'm Gordiy.
Gordiy.
Yeah. That's connected.
Actually,
my Saint Angel's Day on the International Hurdy-Gurdy Day. It was the 3rd of January, a few days ago.
Wait. The 3rd of January is the International Hurdy-Gurdy Day.
International Hurdy-Gurdy Day. Yeah, unofficial.
And so that's that you've made that into your.
It's like we have your Saint Angel's Day, Mm-hmm. So the 3rd of January is Saint Gordiy's Day, and
no way.
This is the Hurdy-Gurdy Day. Yeah.
Well, it's all connected.
Yeah.
Wait. Okay. Last question. Then we'll save the rest for our next episode. We'll have to do more. Why is it called hurdy-gurdy?
I don't know. It's English name, and every country has the different names. Hurdy-gurdy. It's like maybe you can find the answer of that because It's like I don't know. Maybe it's because it's strange, making strange noises, and I even can't translate what hurdy-gurdy means from English. Do you know what's this mean?
No, maybe I don't know. It's like a onomatopoeia or something. So all we know is that you are Gordiy, but also hurdy in Ukrainian. You would make the hurdy-gurdy, and your patron saint Gordiy is his day is the same day as hurdy-gurdy day, and somewhere between all that, we'll figure out.
Yeah, and that's totally true.
Well, nice. Okay. Next time we talk, maybe we'll have some more idea of what the hurdy-gurdy, the etymology of hurdy-gurdy. But
I can make like a lection about it for 2
Yeah.
hours.
Chamuni, why not? Let's do it, man. So anyway, okay, well, man, thanks for joining for this, and thank you all for listening. You can follow us UkrainianFreedomNews.com and on X, on Instagram, LinkedIn, etc. If you go to my account on X at JP Lindsley, I have a few very controversial posts the past couple of days. Please check them out and share them if you wish, and post your criticism. I welcome all criticism. Anyway, so good evening, good night from the Carpathian Mountains. I'm Joe Lindsley, and
Gordiy Starukh.
thank you, man. Until next time, Дякую.
Thanks.
Good people all, this Christmas time, consider well and bear in mind what our good God for us has done in sending His beloved Son. With Mary holy we should pray to God with love this Christmas day. In Bethlehem, upon that morn, there was a blessed Messiah born.
Ой на камені, ой на білому, святий вечір, сиділо три соколики, святий вечір, три соколики, ратоньку радять, святий вечір, ратоньку радять, як світ знову ти.
Near Bethlehem did shepherds keep their flocks of lambs and feeding sheep, to whom God's angels did appear, which put the shepherds in great fear. Prepare and go, the angel said, to Bethlehem, be not afraid, for there you'll find this happy morn, that Christ we made, sweet Jesus born.
Ой на камені, ой на білому, святий вечір, сиділо три соколики, святий вечір, три соколики, ратоньку радять, святий вечір, ратоньку радять, як світ знову ти. Ой на камені, ой на білому, там сиділо три соколики, ратоньку радять, як світ знову ти.
Good people all, this Christmas time, consider well and bear in mind what our good God for us has done in sending His beloved Son.
Ой на камені, ой на білому, там сиділо три соколики, ратоньку радять, як світ знову ти.
Upon the morn, there was a blessed Messiah born.
Thank you for introducing Ukraine on your social media pages. That's very important that much more people can get more information about the situation here and how everybody can help Ukraine to stay stronger and to save all the world.
Що сказав?
Well, which side are you on?
На чиїй ти стороні,
Come on now. Oh, which side are you on?
на чиїй ти стороні.